We are ANN, and this is Planet Talk.
Hello and welcome to Planet Talk. My name is Alex Stein, and today is April 15th, 2021. Now today we have the Sun, Mercury, Venus, conjunction square Pluto, Moon trine Saturn, Mars square Neptune, Mars trine Jupiter. Now, with the Moon trine Saturn, this is just a one-day aspect. Moon transits tell us a lot about the background mood of the day, about just kind of where we feel we're at a lot of the time. Moon transits can be helpful for kind of supporting a mindfulness, a kind of updated sort of mindfulness practice that I think astrology generally can help support. It just helps us be more aware of why we feel what we feel, why we're guided to do what we're guided to do. So Moon Saturn, this can be a serious mood, time for introspection, time for getting stuff done around the house, taking care of chores, maybe going on errands, maybe fixing something or paying some bills. I'm going to go to Costco after this, something that I'm rarely in the mood for, but today it seems okay. Now a lot that's going on in the news, of course, reflects these transits, and that's what we do here. But I'm just going to dive in by focusing on the Chauvin trial, and really the relationship between Chauvin and Floyd, and what this bit of the cosmic drama is. First of all, I spoke last time about Mars square Neptune, and with that aspect, we bring together the archetypes of the Mars principle of aggression, of violence, with the Neptunian principle of the collective dream, of the power of images and the imagination, and of divine reality. I have really been feeling this Mars-Neptune aspect as a version of the divine play with a theme of violence. We've had so many mass shootings since this aspect has been, applying and now separating. The uptick in the mass shootings. I saw a political cartoon, had a picture of the American flag at half-mast with the word mass shootings written across it, and said permanent half-mast. And it's true. Every flag I've seen for several weeks now has been at half-mast, and it's because, we've had, just overlapping mass shootings. We can't get to the point where we're going to pull the flag back up to the top of the pole before another one happens. And then of course, yet another killing of a black man at the hands of police, Dante Wright, and this is just 10 miles from Derek Chauvin's trial. There, I particularly in the way that the officer drew what she says she thought she was drawing her taser, but she happened to draw her gun and shot the gun instead. I see the Mars trine Jupiter aspect that we're experiencing right now behind that. That can be a kind of trigger happy, kind of cowboy, shoot first, ask questions later kind of an aspect. Now, let's take a look at Sun Pluto, okay? This comes through in the Chauvin Floyd case, really strongly, because it's all about power and, the clash of wills and the facing of the dark side and radical transformation. And okay, so well, some of that is obvious when we're thinking about this case. Maybe not the radical transformation part, um, but I think that that is there too, and it's because I really see this case as a, and I think a lot of people do, uh, as a kind of microcosmic reflection of the whole situation between white people and black people in America, and it's a real reckoning. And it's like, yeah, all of these incidences have been, all of the times somebody has killed an unarmed black man, police officers killed an unarmed black man, and gotten off essentially. These have all been a reflection of the bigger thing, of course, but there's a way that um, this particular one just seems so strongly there as a manifestation of this divine play with the theme of violence. Mars Neptune, aimed toward a radical transformation of ourselves, Sun Pluto, radical transformation of our society, right? And the U.S. is, of course, at its Pluto return, and we've been at our Pluto return, through this the Saturn Pluto conjunction that we're now in the last stages of, um, and I think that the one of the biggest, if not the biggest, theme of the last 12 years with Uranus Pluto, um, has been the rebalancing of the relationship between the races, specifically in this case, white and black, also between the sexes, and and everybody in between. Um, but just focusing on it here now between black and white. Um, yes, so Sun Pluto, the capacity for self-overcoming, to die to what we have been and step into what we might be, to uh, become empowered by greater forces of evolution and um, destiny, I guess. The ability to look evil squarely in the face and not back down. That's all stuff that can come up with Sun Pluto, as can power struggles, uh, the urge to dominate, to become possessed and identified with the archetype of power. And I think this comes through very strongly with Chauvin, right? And um, interestingly, if let's see, Derek Chauvin has a Sun Mars Pluto T square in his birth chart. Okay, let me just kind of list a few of these things now. In fact, I'm going to pull up his chart. Okay, so Sun, very close square to Mars. Mars, okay, about 10 degrees square to Pluto. Sun is like about an 11-degree opposition, okay, to Pluto. So it's wide orbs with Pluto, but they're still, for our purposes, they're totally operative. So let's see, Sun, Mars, Pluto. When we add Mars into the mix of what I just talked about, right, we're bringing in more of those elements of violence, of force, of highlighting the aspect of the will even more. Um, Mars Pluto can be can have a nonstop, like not knowing when to stop kind of a quality, like like a pit bull that latches onto something and just won't let go. You can never pry its jaws apart. Um, the sun in there, extra element of ego. The you put them all together, and there's this capacity to identify with power, with force, um, you know, in a total kind of a way, to get into a violent possession state. Um, of course, sun will also shine a light on whatever it touches. So, uh, we can see the sun here shining a light on issues of power, of domination, of violence, of control. And uh, now, somebody with Sun, Mars, Pluto, who's conscious and living that aspect out in a healthy way, might um, might bring attention to these areas of life, or have an extra special ability to face these areas of life, to be a kind of um, warrior for good, or kind of activist, or a protector kind of an energy that can be there for sure. But it can very easily slip into just the worst kinds of power trips, or being on the receiving end of the worst kinds of power trips. Now, let's see. He also has a Mars Uranus trine. Let me see. Yeah, Mars Uranus trine, and um, Mars Uranus can have this kind of unpredictable wild card, uh, sudden outburst, sudden fits of violence, kind of an energy to it. It's reckless. It can be reckless. Um, yeah. Now, also, he's got Sun trine Saturn. So there we have maybe the identification with authority, with the rule of law. Uh, that's a great aspect to have in a lot of ways. It's the capacity to kind of um, be patient, and put in your time, and do hard work, and sort of know your place in a good way, not get too big for your britches. um, but on the other hand, if we've got all these intense unhealthy expressions of Pluto and Mars coming through, it's more this kind of stepping into that rigid identification with authority. And now, just to recap a little, right? Chauvin's got Sun, Mars, Pluto, T square. Now, let's take a look at Floyd's chart. Okay, Floyd's got Sun, Uranus. It's also got Saturn square Pluto. Here, let me pull up this chart. So Sun, Uranus, opposite Chiron. We don't often talk about Chiron in archetypal astrology, but I think it's pretty pertinent here. Floyd had a history of a lot of ups and downs, and he struggled a lot through life with addiction, kind of petty crime throughout his life, being in trouble with the law. That's one way of reading Sun Uranus. But in later years, he got involved with his church, and became a mentor to younger people who were going through similar struggles to him. And that's a classic kind of a Chiron story. We can also see, he was a rapper, and a man of faith. And we have here the Neptune or Venus Neptune conjunction, sextile Jupiter, which comes through in both those ways. Somebody who had a real probably a real gentle soul, and a real artistic side, and real spiritual side, but also the addict that can come through with with Venus, Neptune. Venus is our, we seek comfort through Venus. Also, Jupiter doesn't know when to stop. But seeking comfort, pleasure, good times. And Neptune can very easily just, because we want to get beyond ourselves with Neptune. Drugs are often a temptation. They're a sort of substitute for transcendence. And then Saturn Pluto square, nearly exact, and that he became so just such an icon in a Saturn Pluto time under the conjunction that we've been experiencing. We see with Saturn and Pluto, this is the real grim, hard stuff of life that tests us and knocks us down and either breaks us or makes us. In Nietzsche's words, which have now become a Katy Perry cliche, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. But sometimes it's really true. And I think that he lived that out, and was brought to the brink maybe several times throughout his life. Got up, got knocked back down, got up, got knocked back down. Then tried to help other people, and I think Saturn Pluto can, when you've really been through it, it's that kind of hard experience that can make you better empathize with people. So he was living that, and then of course he did get killed in the end. Not that Saturn Pluto aspects mean you're going to die a violent death by any means, but it's just notable here. And given that it happened in a Saturn Pluto time when we're facing the really, really dark stuff in the collective psyche, the all of the wounding, the collective kind of wounding and the splitting of us and them, good and evil, the incredible compulsion of one side to dominate the other, and all of the hatred and resentment that brings. Just all these kinds of poisons have really been brought up through the conjunction, and Floyd reflects that, of course, in his chart. Interestingly, we've got Mars, Neptune, also Saturn, Neptune, Yod. We're just focusing on the Mars, Neptune. Remember, I spoke about Mars, Neptune earlier and the power of the violent image, and this, the image, the video of Floyd's death is one of these images that's going to go down in history. And interestingly, right, he's got this aspect, also involves Saturn, so it brings in elements of authority, right, the police. But that aspect is also present in Chauvin and Floyd's composite chart, and just bring that up right now. So check this out. Sun, Saturn, Pluto, T-square. So there it is, all that stuff about power, about transformation, about incredible urge to dominate and destroy. And then Mars opposite Neptune, the power of the image. And it's on the nodes. Now, we don't look at the nodes so much in archetypal astrology, but I think there's some power here, especially in thinking about the the divine play aspect of things that I think that Neptune's really bringing out right now. Um, there is an importance to this relationship. Uh, they, you know, I'm almost certain that, you know, if such things happen, that their souls made some kind of a contract, you know, coming into this life, and uh, it is to have major world importance. I really feel that about the relationship between these two. There are a lot of other connections between them that we could talk about. But I'm not going to go into all of them. Um, I think it's interesting to look at their transits for that day. Floyd had Pluto square the sun, his sun Uranus. Um, you know, I've already talked about Sun and Pluto quite a bit. Um, Mars square Neptune. So again, you see how these aspects are repeating themselves over and over again. Sun Pluto, Saturn Pluto, Mars Neptune. They're coming up in the natal charts, in the transits for right now at Chauvin's trial, in the composite, and then in the synastry, Chauvin's Mars is on Floyd's Saturn and square his Pluto. And so, you know, when we look at the Mars Saturn, you know, there can be this harsh kind of punishing quality to Mars Saturn. Mars is the force, Saturn's the resistance. It's also force in a Saturnian way, a kind of the sense of hierarchy of like, I have the right to exert this force over you because I am the police. The holding somebody still in a motionless state where they can't move for several minutes, that kind of isometric lock, that is a Mars Saturn kind of a quality. Chauvin Saturn is also square Floyd's Sun Uranus, and so Sun Uranus, it's the freedom, you know, a free individual kind of living outside the bounds of the rules, right? And you know, Floyd's kind of criminal behaviors sort of reflect that. But then Chauvin coming in as the police, Saturn. Oh, another interesting thing in let me see, in Chauvin's transits for the day. What do we have? Mercury square the sun. You know, I think of Mercury square the sun as a, like, get the message, right? Get the message, dude. Somebody's saying, I can't breathe. Like, you need to listen to the words that are coming at you. But he also had Neptune conjunct his Mercury, and Neptune can fog up your perception when it is conjunct Mercury. You know, it can also bring in inspiring messages, beautiful synchronicities, great metaphors. But you know, it's like Chauvin had a very specific role to play in this cosmic drama I've been talking about, and you know, he didn't listen to the words that were being said. Mercury square Sun. See, he also had Pluto, Jupiter, Saturn opposite his Saturn, and so again, the Pluto, you know, Pluto compelling the Saturnian urge to control, to you know, together it's this, you know, dominating, forceful, punishing kind of a quality, and Jupiter just bigs it up with you know, it amplifies it, adds a level of arrogance, of inflation to the whole thing, and also Jupiter Pluto like tends to have this kind of it can have this like connection to large events kind of a quality. Like I think Tarnas refers to it as like high drama, like on the international scale, or like political intrigue. But it's that kind of high stakes drama. He like really just plugged into a stream that just brought him up to national recognition. Yeah. Now, I don't know if there's more I should say on this right now. I've already gone on for kind of a long time. I can't remember if I said everything I wanted to say. There's so many damn aspects I've talked about today, looking at all these different charts. So I hope it wasn't too confusing and muddled for you. I hope it was helpful, and thanks for listening. I will talk to you next time.